Welcome to the Volvo Ocean Race. It is day 10 of leg 6. The fleet is on their way to Auckland, and the ones that are leading the charge are Team AkzoNobel and Sunken Scallywag. They have completely broken away from the rest of the fleet, and frankly, it looks painful out there for those at the back. Let's have a look at the tracker to see just how bad the damage is. This is what the situation looked like yesterday. Everybody was a little bit stuck. Even the race leader, AkzoNobel, was spinning around in circles, but at the back, that's where the real damage was being done. They're all the way out on the eastern side, only 2, 3, 4 knots of wind, and sometimes the boats were even struggling to keep pointing in the right direction. However, look now what happens. It is Team AkzoNobel that is the first boat to get into that breeze, and the distance just stretches. You can see the elastic stretching from 120 miles to 250, all the way up to 281 miles. Looking ahead at the predicted positions, as we throw on those westerlies that they're going to be diving south in, you can see that there are lots of challenges coming up ahead as that dark blue zone rears its head again. You can see that there are plenty of challenges coming up, but so far the AkzoNobel strategy has been working really well. A lot of that is down to the preparation before the boats went to sea, and I asked shoreside navigator Roscoe Monson just how much work goes into preparing a leg like this.
One of the main points, part of the strategy even before the start, was that when we went up to China, Guangzhou, I took the boat up to China and brought the boat back, and that allowed Jules Salter to go and take a holiday, take some time, and also get ahead with the weather for this next leg. So already a big part of our strategy was played out a couple of weeks before the start. And then he also spent a lot of time with 2 of our weather routers, Axel Magdal and also Roger Clouds Badham from Australia. And he spent a lot of time with those guys and got them to model a lot of these scenarios coming out of Hong Kong. And obviously the one that developed, we saw the 2 strategies just after Taiwan. One strategy was to head east and let the front catch the fleet up, which was the conservative option. And then the more risky one, which the guys along with Scallywag took, was to tack off and go hunting for the front, go and find the front, get into it, and then use it to move through the fleet, which was obviously a much more risky strategy. And as I think you can see from a lot of the comments on the website and things, a lot of people thought it was all over at that point, as we've seen in the past. But I know for a fact that Jules and the guys on board, Jules certainly had studied that.
And actually we saw a moment where Jules was bearing his soul in an interview on board, saying maybe this was a mistake to head all the way up to Okinawa. Were you guys on sort of sweating buckets on shore, sort of wondering if this was actually going to work out?
We knew if it went according to plan, it would work out, but we also knew that, like you say, anything can change at any point. And there were a lot of different scenarios within that. And the other guys had got a long way ahead, and the worry was that we just couldn't catch up. So, but luckily it panned out almost the way well, certainly that Jules had been talking about it.
Now, if we move forward to the second key moment in this race, where you had the 2 high-pressure zones, so you had the front and the middle, Sunken Kai and your team went south and sort of cut the thin end of the wedge. Everybody else sort of sailed themselves up into the corner. And how much is that strategy or tactic?
Definitely within the fleet right now, there are a lot of different strategies going on, depending from which boat you sit on. Certainly Dongfeng and Mapfre seem to be spending an awful lot of time very close together, maybe trying to save points on each other, just trying to measure each other, not let the other person get away. Certainly Brunel is doing their thing, they're forging their own path as they sort of normally do. And up to now, we've sort of stayed with the pack, but this time certainly we've broken away, and as we've seen, Scallywag's not afraid to break away at any opportunity. So it's depending on which boat you're on, everyone's looking at it from a different angle, definitely, strategically.
You more than anybody know that this team has had a challenging start to this race. You were tagged in at the last moment to be navigator on leg 1. The team had problems with the mast track on leg 3 in the Southern Ocean, but now there's this incredible inertia going the right way. You've got a leg port win up in Hong Kong, and then now you're leading the fleet. Can you sort of talk us through what it's like to be in the team and the challenges that you're overcoming as you become more and more successful as the race goes on?
I mean, the team is a big part of this. Everyone eventually learns that as you get through, but we try and bring that in from an early start, and obviously our team got shaken up at the start. But for example, like the boat behind me, Pirates of the Caribbean, that was a similar scenario. Had a really tough start, crashed out on leg 1, and they finished second in the Volvo Ocean Race. So it's all about getting all the members of the team. We have a really great shore crew who put a huge amount of effort in Hong Kong and China to get the boat back turned around again, and also in Melbourne. There are a few very long nights in Melbourne to give the sailors everything they need. Also the shore crew and the corporate team on the shore, trying to just give everyone the best opportunity, one, to do their job really well, but also give the sailors on the boat the best atmosphere, and also all the support they need to feel they're doing the right thing to get the results. And it's all about building that momentum as the time goes on and getting everyone to function in the right way. And we've been working very hard on that.
What is the leadership and the team doing to keep focusing on the process that clearly is working now, without getting sort of stressed about the results as they're coming?
I think the guys start to thrive. Once the sailors get under pressure, they start to thrive. When they feel they don't have the tools and resources and aren't getting the results, that's sometimes a harder scenario, because certainly Jules, I know the harder it gets, the better he's going to get, and you're going to see that start to show, and that's why he's there. And also Chris Nicholson, the experience of him on board. These guys, the tougher it gets, the better they get. But unless you can get them to that level and put them under the pressure, it's hard to get that spark to fire. And our job now is, you can see Dongfeng and Matt Frey putting pressure on each other right now, and it's our job going forward to put pressure on the other boats. So you can generate pressure within your team, but it's also your team's job to put pressure on the other teams and really make them make mistakes first.
It's exciting to see the leaderboard upended, and I think it's going to make the rest of the race so much more exciting for all of us to follow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to come. We've still got the doldrums, another phase of light air to come. But certainly the first boat out of that will get to New Zealand first by the looks of it. Yeah. And my fingers are crossed.
And for you personally, as a navigator, having sailed on leg one, has that given you a taste for wanting to get back out there in the Volvo Ocean Race?
Yeah, when the opportunity comes, I'll be ready for it. Yeah, certainly I wasn't. They might give me a bit more time to prepare next time, but it's amazing. I'm very supportive of Jules. That's my job, is to support him and do everything I can to make his life good, and also for the team and the performance aspect. But we'll see what opportunities come in the future.
All the best for you, Roscoe, and indeed for the team. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Cheers, Conrad. Thank you.
Well, I'm a curious guy, and I could not restrain myself from imagining what this would do to the overall standings. Remember, this is what it looked like at the start of this leg. Mafra and Dongfeng clear ahead, and then pretty sharp drop off to the rest of the fleet. But imagine that these boats currently in this position make it all the way to New Zealand. Let's have a look at what that would do to the overall. If Team AkzoNobel and Sunken Kai Scallywag finish in 1-2, well, Sunken Kai Scallywag, after their win into Hong Kong, would come up to a strong third place. But look at what happens to positions 4, 5, and 6. Team Brunel, Team AkzoNobel, and Vestas 11th Hour Racing would be all tied up for 23 points. Now remember, this is exciting because going into the next leg, we have a double points leg all the way through the Southern Ocean with an extra point available for the first boat around Cape Horn. So an incredible opportunity in the next leg to really shake this up. If Team AkzoNobel can hang on and win this leg into Auckland, well, it's going to be a gift for everybody following the race, because it's really going to spice things up for the second part of the race overall. Anyway, you may have noticed that we haven't put a call into any of the boats and haven't shown any recent images from the fleet. The reason for that is because Inmarsat confirms that it's currently experiencing an outage of one of its satellites that covers the Asia-Pacific region. They're currently working on this and hope to get it up as soon as possible so that we can continue to watch the race in high definition. Just to be clear, the boats are not in any danger. We can still communicate with them and give them weather information through an alternative satellite. And of course, they still have GPS from an entirely different set of satellites. And so they know where they are, we know where they are, and so life is good. Anyway, remember, these sailors are highly trained professionals of the high seas, and just before the start of the race, I went up to Newcastle in England to see just what their preparations looked like. Safety is super important for Volvo and also for Volvo Ocean Racing sailors. And this is why we've come to the Marine Ocean Safety Training Centre just outside of Newcastle so that they can learn about how to be safe at sea. Come on, and we'll have a look. Here, all of the teams have been through a complete syllabus of firefighting, safety at sea, first aid, how to use the electrical safety systems on board. But the real action begins later today when we go into the dramatic pool that we've got here.
Step into the pool. Don't jump, just step in. So this is just an illustration for the guys to try and persuade them to wear life jackets more. They're just wearing shorts and t-shirt. It's 26 degrees in the pool, so it's really warm. And we're now 2 minutes into this exercise and we've now got 3 people out of the water already. We have not had a team last more than 8 minutes.
That's terrifying.
It's
so
a
even in
real
absolutely
eye-opener.
ideal circumstances, they don't last longer than 8 minutes.
I would expect the Volvo teams to last longer in the pool than your general public would do.
What's the absolute record that you've seen with the Volvo people and also with the rest of your clients?
9 minutes. Okay, everybody out the pool.
Okay guys, wait for the waves to lie down.
This is very different to the America's Cup training. We did a lot of safety training for how to pull guys out of the water and if the boat was capsized, how you would best recover somebody, but this is at a complete another level.
I was trying to imagine what that would be like if it was really actually cold, dark, I mean, there's no wind even.
With the America's Cup, we always had 4 support boats chasing us around, and so help was always nearby, and we always had a diver suited up with ready to jump in the water to help, but this is, you're on your own and you've got to look out for your mates.
It's a real wake-up call for everybody involved because the water is warm, the waves are not actually that high, and yet after 7 minutes since the first person went in the water, everybody's out. And so this should be a real call to reality for everybody involved, that if you go overboard without a life jacket, without one of the spin-lock deck vests, it's going to be really hard to survive.
Well, I think it's a must because I sailed once in this race where we actually had to go in the life raft, and it's just a great help, and it's just a way of familiarizing for people who haven't done it.
The only thing that changes is how you look at it. If you've been in a situation like we were with Vestas, you take things more seriously, and you know you need to know this stuff because you could end up using it before you know it.
And even like I've done it now, I think 8 or 9 or 10 times, can't remember. But every time again, it's just good to be familiarizing yourself what it actually is when when you're together with a very small team in a life raft.
You know, basic things like counting off and having a plan and sticking together and who's in charge of what, you know, basic things like that is going to save your life.
You're one of the few people in this room that's actually used one of these things in anger. Can you tell me about how closely today's training replicates that experience?
Well, actually, the moment when we had to abandon ship, the conditions were actually way better because it wasn't raining. But you can see over here when it's rain or when there's a huge storm. But in general, I think this probably, especially like the rain, that's bloody annoying.
That's our show for today, but join me again tomorrow for Sunday lunch, where we'll be talking about the freeze-dried food that they have on board. Thankfully, Roscoe told us they have plenty. And also, we're hoping to be in touch again with the boats if Inmarsat can get their satellite sorted out. And also, just wanted to let you know that next week I will be joined in the studio by Jen Edney, Team OBR. And so please put your questions down below in the comments box as of today, also tomorrow leading into the show on Monday, so that we can get the inside scoop on what it's like to be a photographer and videographer on board. Anyway, see you tomorrow.